Hello, everybody. My name is Sebastian, and I'm here with.
Gio.
Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
Okay, and we are the Silly Bookshelves.
Podcast.
Yeah, podcast.
And today we're going to be reviewing Long Division by Keith Lehman, which is a pretty good book, not gonna lie. Recommend.
So, first we're gonna start with like EQ, and the EQ is how do shared histories bring people together or push people apart? What do you think?
I think the shared histories would bring people together rather than push people apart, because they have a relatability with that other person, and just like they know the person more than like they would know someone who didn't go through the same experience.
Yeah.
And they can just talk about it and feel better with one
Yeah,
another.
like what he's saying is basically relatability. Relatability brings people together like a magnet. Because people want to be near people who get them. Like people who understand their feeling, their pain, or like their struggles. And that's what this book is basically about. So today we're gonna give a summary about Long Division.
Yeah, and I would also add that like it brings more familiarity.
Yeah. So this book Long Division by Keith Lehman is about a kid named City that experiences different types of like racism and racial violence and love between black people and white people. So part one, that's basically what it is, and in book one is Mississippi, or he lives in Mississippi, and then in book two, there's two different books, but it's the same book, but like part two. I mean, there's two different parts, and part two is basically City, but it's a different city, but
in a different timeline. He lives in Chicago this time, but he's visiting Mississippi, Malahatchie, and he's visiting his grandma. He's meeting with his friend Shalea, who takes him to the future, and he loves her, but
but we're gonna go more in detail in the book after we talk about our thesis. So our thesis is Long Division 2013 by Keith Lehman. How do you say it? Keith Lehman is about racial violence and love. The novel illustrates how racial violence can lead to black people struggling to be perfect for white people and can result in love between black people.
Yeah.
Okay, starting off with our evidence. But first, we gotta start with context. So, City was at this contest named Can You State That in a Sentence contest. He was talking to Lavander, and he was talking about the moments that led up to the contest and reasons why he wants to do it. And then City responds with, "Fool, forget white people. Why don't you try to win this for your real people?" And this shows how Lavander wants to be seen by white people, it states how he thinks that, or he wants to do this for white people. He doesn't want to do it for black people or himself. He wants to seem like a more than enough black person to white people, right?
I wouldn't go as far to say that he wants to be perfect for white people, but I would agree with that. He wants to be seen as a capable black person in this like white society. Not necessarily doing it for white people, but it's more exaggerated. So I would say that he's trying to seem more perfect, as like he wants, as he stated before the contest, he wants to be seen with Barack Obama's daughter in like a big mansion to show that he's better than everybody else.
Yeah.
He's doing this for like more selfish reasons rather than his like community. So
yeah, you brought out those points and I really agree with those. Okay, in evidence two. So in evidence two, you want to state it? You want me to state it?
Yeah.
Or okay. In evidence two, what's the context?
The context is.
I'll edit this part of it. Just tell me. Just say it.
Oh, okay. So basically, the context is basically of this quote is he later on basically City meets this dude named Sosad, who Sosad ends up beating up City because during the contest he calls out white people and like they're discriminatory towards black people and trying to make them seem
Okay, so we're gonna start with. Okay, now let's go with evidence 2 from book 1.
Basically, in this quote, it's basically how it came out of love, trying to protect city from white people. Since our thesis is basically how racial violence can lead to black people struggling to be perfect white people and result in love between black people. How the grandma basically kidnaps one of the perpetrators of who beats City up. Because during the contest, City called out white people for their basically
giving him the word that like had the N-word in it and didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, their actions towards black people. Like
Yeah.
that was a very uncomfortable experience for City, and how he got a word for that was basically sounded like the N-words, but he was like the only two black one of the only two black people that was in participating.
Contest, yeah.
Yeah. And
So what this quote is basically saying is that, let me actually read the quote. What I did to protect me and mine was wrong, City. I knew better. So basically the context of this quote is that the grandma killed So Sad because So Sad
beat up City.
Yeah, beat up City.
But at first, like, her intentions were just to like kidnap him and
Yeah.
try and protect him, or
But it didn't end up doing well because she didn't really thought it out because she was like angered or like pissed
And
when
she
she heard about it. And the analysis that this shows how grandma killed and trapped him because he was being racist towards City, and she did it out of love for him and protection. She felt obligated with her past and experience with white people to like to stop the suffering or like
Yeah, and this brings back to like the Walmart experience in book 1, where she was, where she acted like she was being really nice, overly nice to this white person or to this white lady, and she's been living for a long time, so you would imagine like her experiences with white people back in like the 70s, the 80s, 90s. Like she wants City to be protected and not to act like, or not to be mistreated by white people. That's why she acted like that in Walmart. You remember, Josh?
Yeah, I remember that part.
And
Yeah, and it relates to our love part where it, like racial violence can lead to love, because she did it out of love to protect City.
yeah, because she didn't want like to be mistreated on how they would have to act in front of white people.
Yeah. Okay, now going with evidence 2 from book or part 2 actually. So the context of this quote is that, so the context of this quote is kind of weird. Do you mind explaining it?
Oh, yeah. Basically, in book 2, City was in the past where the KKK were, and they were terrorizing, Jewish people, black people, Asians, Hispanics, and his grandpa or his grandfather was killed right in front of him due to, it's kind of not justified, but
Yeah, it's not justified.
because like his grandpa basically whistled at a teenager, a kid,
Oh.
yeah, like a teenager. White
And he
girl.
got shot?
Yeah, and he got killed for that. But who are they to like really kill?
Yeah, who's like...
He should have just been sent to prison.
Yeah, because that doesn't really deserve what I think it doesn't really deserve the death sentence, was basically what it is. Okay, now with the evidence, with that context, is that the smell of gasoline was everywhere. When we walked into the Freedom School, Lethan Carr Goldson, is that his name? Was slumped face down on the desk. I had never been one of those people who loved blood, and right in front of us was a man who wasn't alive anymore.
Yeah, he had just been killed by the KKK.
Yeah, and the smell of the gasoline was everywhere. Freedom. Oh wait, this is the same quote. But so basically, this shows how City was like he loved his own. No, he didn't really love his own blood, but for some reason this brought it out to, or like getting his own blood getting killed in front of him made him really realize. Or actually, okay, so this shows black people being killed by people who consider themselves vigilantes. The Klan basically is violence, this is violence. The reason for killing City's granddad was because he was hollering at a teen.
Something that was like not very acceptable or respectable, but they still killed him and like judged him on his life. And I think they were doing something righteous, but they really, why would they decide someone's life when, and these people were hypocrites too. They would go to church on Sunday and they would praise the Lord and they would like say that they were clean of any savagery, but that was pretty savage, like of
savage thing to do, to kill someone because
they think they're like
they're the one above all, because they think they're the perfect race. Okay, now with evidence 4 on book 2. So the evidence. Unfold your. First context. So City was with his grandma's house and felt uncomfortable being naked because he's pretty he's
pretty
chubby,
fat,
fat.
And in like this society, especially in the 80s, where like you would get shamed.
Yeah, he would get shamed, fat shamed. And so the evidence the quote goes, "Unfold your arms," or grandma says this. "Unfold your arms. You ain't gotta cover them fat breasts." What I'm saying is that your mind, your mouth, and your heart finally work right. You really sprout out. So this is basically Mama Laura is the grandma. Mama Laura is telling him that she cares for him by saying he has grown as a person. She makes him feel comfortable by saying he doesn't have to cover up his flaws, like his breast, and reassures him by saying he has grown as a character and the difference to how he has presented on the outside versus how he's comfortable in his home.
Yeah, like you can't go outside or you'd be made fun of or bullied because you wouldn't look like the other kids for being fat.
Wait! I just realized our ad.
Okay.
Wait! We have an ad right now, so we'll be right back.
Right back.
Whopper, Junior, double, triple, Whopper, flame grill taste with perfect toppers. I rule this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickle, ketchup, it's okay if I don't want that Impossible or bacon Whopper, any Whopper my way. You rule your season today at BK. Have it your way.
Okay, so then we have our evidence 5, which is in book 2, obviously, and then it's basically with another major character, Baze, which is his City's daughter, City's and Shalea's daughter. But if you may have not known, like she ends up disappearing later because Shalea actually changed the future by falling in love with Evan, and now Baze is falling out of the future. And what this quote is basically saying, the shared experience of having gone through the 60s and struggle for black people not acting perfect in front of the clan members led to them to have love for one another. Yeah. And this is not like romantic love, but like more of like,
Yeah, and the quote we chose for this is, "But I needed Blaze back. I didn't care if it was right or if it was right to anyone else but my daughter and me."
Yeah, and she's disappearing, and City really fell he felt attached to Baze a lot because
Stop moving. Okay, go.
Because they went to the future in book 2. They went back to the past, and they have a lot of shared moments in history, and now they care for one another.
Yeah, like City's love for Blaze grew out through the novel, and he would go back in time to get her back through the time, with the clan. And it shows that he has really grown. And before he said that,
he was really scared to go back in time because of the clan, and he had been in grasp of the clan. Like, they beat him up
they beat him up earlier in the book. But City is willing to risk it all to find Blaze and to be with her again.
Yeah,
which really shows how the clan's member being racially violent or being violence or racially violence towards City. But even though he did that, he still found some type of love between black people, which is City and Blaze.
Yeah, and that can lead to their struggle for being perfect for white people because they're being they're literally being terrorized.
Okay, yeah.
But it did result in love between black people because
Yeah, so we do think this book is about, or we do think Long Division by Keith Layman is a about racial violence and love.
And
because how the novel illustrates how racial violence can lead to like black people finding love between each other because of
struggling
like
to be
because of you know the Q&A, how we stated how shared histories bring people together. Just like that, because they found relatability in like you know finding relatability in their struggles and you know being together.
And we're able to really care for one another. As in book 1, you know, it was really like he hated one of his friends, or not friends, but like acquaintances, Lavender. But in the end of book 1, they
experience racial violence, and then at the end of the book, they love each other, but not in like a friendship way.
Yeah,
they find that they actually do like being friends.
Yeah, and then in book 2, it also resulted in love, as in, you know, he
gets terrorized by the Klan, and then
like,
realized that like he really loved his daughter Baze.
Yeah,
like as a daughter.
And he has a friend too.
And connecting this to society and the real world, like I feel like because as a person with Mexican heritage, I feel like my family probably gets to be closer whenever we like watch like whenever we hear news about the border and like how it's like affecting the
and it can bring people together, like Mexican heritage, you know, you have people waving their flags all around LA because, you know, they felt prideful to be from Mexico. And
Okay, I'm relating this back to the EQ of how do shared histories bring people together or push people apart. I'm gonna ask Gio, how do you like connect it to this EQ to yourself and the real world?
I would say that like if shared histories do bring people apart, because as you can see with as I'm Mexican as well, Mexicans, we have like a shared experience of crossing the border, for example. It's a very it's like a very hard struggle that a lot of people in, not just Mexicans, but a lot of immigrants as well, but you know, mainly Mexicans, we feel very prideful that we were able to find a new life and really build something here in the US that we felt that we wouldn't have built in Mexico or in our different other countries, Latin American countries or anywhere else.
Yeah, the connection you made really makes me think because it does bring people together. Because I heard of stories about people helping each other cross the border, like giving them shelter while they're making their journey and giving them like food to like make it through all the way. Like I heard about this happening a lot through through my mom, and hearing about how people help one another whenever they're trying to cross the border by giving them shelter and food.
Yeah, they just want to help each other, you know, through their difficult experience of crossing the border. So,
in conclusion, with our final thoughts, this book is pretty good. Like I actually recommend it. It's like one of the first books I read that's actually pretty funny and
and trippy as well.
Yeah,
I would say trippy.
Like I wouldn't say I relate because I'm not black personally, but like I would say like having struggles having struggles that bring you closer to one another is pretty real to me, and I do recommend this book. How about you, Gio?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I don't. I would actually disagree with Sebastian because I kind of do relate it with it. Not like that I'm black, but I would relate like certain parts of my life, like the crossing the border and the shared struggles, like how it brings people together and how, you know, let's say the Klan can be compared to, I wouldn't really compare them to ICE. Yeah, I wouldn't really compare them, but if you've seen what they've done to immigrants, you can see like they've tortured them, like they've raped them, and
it's pretty bad.
Hurt them, and they separated them. So,
kids in cages.
Kids in cages too, but. So I would actually really relate to this book in the sense that I can relate to parts of my life, and I do recommend the book. It's very trippy in my opinion. I still don't understand.
What would you rate it out of 5 stars? Like 1 out of 5.
I'd say a 4.8.
I'd say a 5 out of 5 because it's just a really thought out book, and like even with the time travel and the time travel and like the surrealism to it, it's still a good book. Yeah,
I
that
still don't know
sounds-
the meaning though. I still don't know the meaning of like the book. Or like I don't know how it's supposed to connect to book 1. I'm so confused on that one. I'm gonna have to like give it a reread so I can
Yeah. Okay,
fully
well,
understand it.
we're running out of time, so this is
We'll see you next time on the Silly Book Show. From
Yeah.
your hosts, Gio and
Sebastian. So I really hope you like this podcast we made. Yeah, it's gonna be going on YouTube. You're probably watching this on YouTube, and yeah, I actually do really do recommend this book for anybody who's watching this. That's not our teacher, and shout out to Miss Tony.
yeah, shout out to Miss Tony because she's the one who put us on Keith Sleeman.
Yeah.
Keith Sleeman's Long Division.
Okay. Bye, guys.
See you.
Later.